joining us. Number 32 in your program, but number 1 in your heart. It's Reggie Freeman. How you doing, Reggie?
Good to see y'all. Thanks for having me out here.
It is March, and when I think March Madness, I remember your days of March Madness because you went every single year. You were in a great run with the Longhorns. And does the calendar turning to March bring back those old memories?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think about me being a freshman, just coming in there, and we had a decent year, and I actually started that year, and all I remember is going to the tournament and playing against the Fab Four, and that was like coming from high school, watching the Fab Five, and then stepping on the court with Jalen Rose and Juwan Howard. It was like, what am I doing here right now?
Everybody was there but Chris Webber, and you came close to beating them. How exciting was that?
Oh man, the game was so close, and it was like, I don't think they didn't realize that we played this way. You know, they was kind of surprised. We kind of shocked them, and I felt like we definitely had an opportunity. I just remember B.J. Tyler getting an N1 at the end, and it was like we was right there. But at the end of the day, I think about Juwan Howard like 30 and 22 rebounds or something like that. It's like you couldn't do nothing with him. You know, but it was a close game, and I mean, we were talking about the Fab Four, so
yeah.
Reggie, you touched on it a little bit right there. What was it like playing in that run and gun system with Coach Penders, Eddie Orn, that crew, that staff? Tell us a little bit. Take us back to those days, those mid-'90s. What it was like playing for those guys.
Yeah, the Running Horns, man. That was very fun. Now, me previously getting to Texas, you know. Me and Terrence Venture had grown up in the same area, and I got to watch him play. I didn't watch Texas play as much being from New York. I remember BMW a little bit, but Terrence was the one that made me want to watch. And I just watched the way they played, and they played just like we played at home in New York. So getting there and playing in that style and that system, it was so fun, man, because he allowed you to express yourself on the court. And all we had to do is play defense. And, you know, our defense wasn't so hard. We just, you know, we were running and trapping and causing havoc. And that was fun. That was a fun thing to do. And, you know, we got the other team to turn the ball over, and, you know, we're just running and gunning and shooting threes. Like the way basketball is played now is how we played. It's so interesting, all the three-pointers and all the stuff that they're doing now. You know, that's the way we played, man. So
I was going to segue into that, how the game's evolved and changed, and you just kind of took it in that direction. So you think you guys were ahead of your time?
Oh, there's no question about it. No question about it. If you watch some old videos of games that we played, I mean, there's no question. We shot more threes than anybody else, for sure, in the conference. And at that time, the SWC, Southwest Conference, shot more threes, running gun. I mean, the way the game is played now is so similar. You know, we posted up like the big men on our team were very upset the way we played. I just keep it like that. So now you have the big men that are more spread out shooting threes and, you know, spaced out on the floor. But, you know, at that time, those bigs wanted the ball on the post. And, you know, we just, between BJ, Terrence Venture, Roger Anderson, Tony Watson, myself, it was Tommy Penders. It was real fun, man.
You had a bunch of long-range shooters. Y'all didn't like to put it in the paint very much.
Oh, no. We would shoot. That's another thing. Like Steph Curry shoots from all the way at 40 feet. I mean, I didn't do it my freshman year, but once I started understanding and getting it, I started doing it like from 40, 45. I'm like, wait a minute. These guys are doing it so easy now, and we practiced it, you know. We practiced shooting those shots. So, yeah, man, I really enjoyed it, and I like the evolution of the game now just because that's the way we played.
The other thing I think that's changed about the game, at least with Texas, and Lowery and I have talked about this with baseball, is that things were more open there. They're like, y'all had a lot more fun, it seemed like, than the current players in some ways, but you're also a lot more open to get to be friends with, to talk to, not just post-game press conference.
Accessible, too. They were accessible.
Yeah, it's just weird how, you know, the guys that's coming up these days are. It's a little bit more of a. We didn't look at it as professionals, the way these guys look at it. You know, they're kind of like, you know, they have to speak to somebody before they have to speak to the media. They have to do this. You know, it's weird, right? And me, as far as like coaching younger kids when I was coaching, and I could just see how they're changing, because now it's more of a business, and I think we had more fun because we didn't take it as a business at the time.
It's more corporate, I think he's saying.
Yeah,
just like you said, we were going to interview some of the current basketball and baseball guys, and they said no. We had it set up because we know them. They said that the athletic department said no, everything needs to go through. I'm like, okay, whatever, we'll just stay with the old timers. Which, by the way, Reggie, thanks for dating me and Barnes, because we were in school with BMW. Okay.
Yes.
I was doing baseball when they were doing basketball. That's how old I am. So
the old days.
Which, you know, by the way, Coach Penders played in AA. He would stop me in the hallways of Belmont and talk about my swing and all. He was a great baseball player.
Yes, he was. Definitely was. I think he was inducted for the Hall of Fame in UConn for that.
Probably in Connecticut for both, for baseball and side. But he played pro ball like me. He got to AA. So he's a good player.
Reggie, tell the truth. Tell the truth. How many baseball games did you go to when you were in school?
Oh,
Tell the truth.
Wait a minute. I went to 2 games, and that was my senior year.
And we probably won them both. Yeah.
It was my senior year. I went to 2 games, and it was because of a girl. So
that's all right. Girls and baseball kind of go together, though. We have a number of those at the ballpark on occasion. So anyway, but seriously, back to that staff. How did that staff work? How important was Eddie Orrin and those guys and all the guys on that staff? You know, back then, how did you guys click with the staff?
No, very important. I mean, you know, Penders is his own entity. You know, Tom he's a character, right?
Right.
But you have Eddie Orrin. And Eddie was he was like the slick, you know, you got to do it like this, and you know, you see his face, and he was real slick with it, you know. Vic Trilley, he's the fiery one, and he worked a lot with the big guys, and he was just the one that would get on you, really like loud. His voice was loud. And then we had Melvin Harrison, and he was just, again, he was the guy that related with everybody pretty much. So we had a good staff. I mean, you know, and then Eddie left and Vic left, and then we had Alex Broadway, Slick Owens, a couple other guys that came on. But, you know, my 4 years, I think the coaching was really good. And, you know, we didn't have so many transfers. Like, you know, when my 4 years, you know, and I think I was the only freshman when I came in, but those other guys that came after, I mean, they stuck it out, man. So I think the coaching staff is really good.
If Terrence Rensher hadn't been here, would you have come to Texas?
No, honestly, Terrence told Coach Penders about me.
Really?
I had some real good schools, you know, West Virginia, and actually UConn. I was going to go sign with UConn. I wanted it bad. I didn't get my SAT score early, and Ray Allen did, and he signed, and that's history for that. And but Terrence told Coach, and Coach came to see me, and I think me knowing him made it better for me to travel all the way out here to Texas. Made it comfortable. So it's more because of him than anything. I had other decisions. I took an unofficial to UNLV, you know, with talk, and I think once I got on campus, it was like that's it, because I never seen nothing like it. So
that's awesome. You know, you touched on something else. You're a great segue guy. You go right into it. How's the one and done changed the college game? You just talked about you guys sticking out 3-4, you know, your entire time. That doesn't happen much really in any sport anymore. But how was it different? How's it different now and then?
Oh, man, it's like we talked before. It's a business. It's a business.
All right.
The stats that I put up as a sophomore could have got me top 5 in the draft this year, which is crazy. But it's a business. They see you from, you know, 11, 12 years old. They're following me from that age. You know, right. You have your Instagrams, you have your YouTube sensations, you know, and then it turns into a business.
Yeah.
Right. And at that time when we was coming out, I mean, the talent that played at the time could have definitely did one and done at the, you know, I mean, you're talking about Glenn Robinson and Jalen Rose and Jamal Mashburns, and those guys could have did one and done. They could have been one and done easily. I think that these kids don't want to go to college anyway, especially if they're getting recruited by some big schools. They don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
So it's like the business takes over more than it did when we played. Because I'll be honest with you, my junior year I could have came out.
Mm-hmm.
Coach talked to me about coming out, and I told him, I said, my body's not ready to get hit by Karl Malone. Those big guys, that's when you can get elbowed and beat up in the paint. And I just wasn't, my body wasn't ready for that. And I knew it.
Right.
Nowadays, it doesn't even matter, so it's totally different, man. But everything turns into a business now.
Yeah. I feel like players in your day, they had their eyes on March Madness. They wanted to go to March Madness. They wanted to go to the Sweet 16. They wanted to hopefully get to the Final Four. They had dreams of winning an NCAA championship. And now all the dreams are, when's the draft? Ooh,
Yep.
Can I be a lottery pick?
Exactly.
What's going to be my contract and that type of thing, which is kind of disappointing for some of us.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the average, college basketball, football fan.
Yeah.
What about the football players that don't want to play in the bowl games?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's ridiculous. When I was young in high school, I couldn't wait to play in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait. It was like that was a big deal. And these guys, like, that's why they should just do away with the one and dones and let them go from high school, because you're ruining, these colleges as far as the programs. For these kids, it makes no sense. The kids that want to stay 3 years and develop and get better, it just, and then they got this transfer portal that really just, it's all out of whack now.
Right.
It's different.
I think, what's interesting, what you just said, I do think it's hurt college sports a little bit. It's still good.
Oh, still good.
The inconsistency of it a little bit now, but you also, the bowl game thing bothers the hell out of me too. But you also, the flip side, being an ex-athlete, playing at the pro level, I get it. There's so much money, and if it's in the Paducah, Weed Eater Bowl, not to knock any bowl, I'm just saying, do you go risk and you're going to sign for $5, $6, $7 million, maybe make $100 million, and blow something out in a game that really doesn't, that the coach can use as an extra spring training game anyway.
Right.
So I get both sides of it, even though I don't necessarily like it. I kind of get it. I understand it.
I think it's more for the player yourself. I mean, now because of the business, the way the mentality is, you're going to have people in your ear saying don't play. So it's up to the individual player. Do you actually want to do this for yourself, for the school, for the fans? Do you want to do it? That's the thing that's crazy, because I didn't have a lot of people in my ears like that when I was playing.
He's right. And I know that happens in baseball. A lot of guys in ears, scouts,
yes.
Agents. I don't call them agents yet, advisors. And they go, you got to do this, you got to do that. And they need to be developing maybe something else, working their way to that. And they, that's an issue too. I mean, it's a different world than when we played. There's no doubt about it in the 80s and 90s. No doubt about it.
But look who you played against in March Madness. Think if you had skipped out on something like that. You played some great teams and some great names. You mentioned the Fab Four. You played against Tim Duncan, Joe Smith. You played some really good teams. You lost to most of them, but you played some really good players.
Damn, Barnes. God, Mike.
No, hey, he's right. He's right.
The good teams, the great players that wound up playing in the NBA, unfortunately, that's who usually eliminated you.
Well, I'll tell you what. And I tell everybody this, whenever I talk about my time playing in the NCAA tournament, we played against dominant big men, man. Like nobody has a story like mine. Yeah. Every year we can win that first game and we're playing really good and we're going, yes. And then Joe Smith. And then Tim Duncan.
Y'all held Tim Duncan down. I think he only had like 12 or 13 points.
No.
Y'all could have won that game.
We definitely could have won that game. I will never forget. Drove to the basket and Sonny was supposed to dunk it on Tim, and that would have been the game, and we'd have been, we just beat North Carolina during the season. So I think we was ready for them if we seen them in the tournament. So I was like, oh man. But you know what? One thing about that game though, Tim Duncan showed me how good he was, because we were pressing, right? We was just up on the ball, and they told all the guards to go down and let Tim bring the ball up.
Wow.
And now we got our big guy guarding this guy that could just dribble up the court. And that's when I said, okay, because everything else he can do. But doing that and making decisions, that blew me away. I saw he's different, you know. But
you knew early he'd be a great NBA player, didn't you?
Oh man, I mean, he already had the post up work and the IQ, but just to have the ball handling ability to bring the ball up, knowing that okay, we're pressing, all the guards leave, we'll probably leave with the guards, and he's bringing the ball up. I said that is very interesting. He's a pro's pro.
Had a special skill set.
Yeah.
Who are the best? You've mentioned some of them again, but who are the best 2, 3, 4 guys you've ever played against? Your opinion, or with?
Well, I said my freshman year, we played against UConn, and UConn just kicked our butts up in Connecticut, right? My freshman year. But I was going back to saying I was going to sign with them, and I didn't. Well, now I'm playing against the guy that signed, Ray Allen, and my background is a street ball basketball player, right? That's my background. That's why I learned how to play in the street. And, Penn just kind of slowed me down, but not yet. He didn't get to slow me down. Not yet. The freshman year, I was still playing like that. And I played against a professional basketball player because Ray Allen played like a pro his freshman year. And I said, okay, I need to change something, because the way he came off the screens just shooting, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that right now. What am I doing wrong? I think I could dribble better than him, but everything else is kind of different. So I put Ray Allen there. Terrence is one of my favorite players, even though he's one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. I grew up watching him play. So, he's definitely going to be on a list of mine. Who else I could say that was really, really good and tough? I think I will definitely say that playing against Corey Carr that went to Texas Tech, I respected him. We had a mutual respect for each other. Mm-hmm. So, and I think he should have been a pro, and he was a pro overseas, but he should have played in the league. And then playing against Kobe in the summer league. So those are the guys I'm like, yeah, that's a different level.
A little notch up. Yeah. How about some of those Euro guys you played against and some of the overseas guys? You might not know them here, but did you see some good talent there?
No, listen, I played with guys that were NBA players that just didn't want to come to the States. That's all it was. Some of those guys are just like, we don't want to leave home.
Right.
But I played even guys on my teams. I had some 6'10" guys that can do everything that they're doing now. I had a whole bunch of Jokic's, a whole bunch of them. Actually, Jokic was a junior, like a baby. What's it called? He was on the smallest team that I played at. I ran into Jokic and I said, "Hey man, Reggie Freeman." I said, "Doji Bamba, I taught some Serbian to him, and he said, "Oh, Freeman." I said, and he told me, he said, "Yeah, I used to play. I used to watch you practice." Crazy. But there's some really good talent. Actually, Larry Bird. There's a picture of me with Larry Bird. Larry Bird came to our practice to watch a couple of these guys, so I hung out with Larry. So because you see how these Euros are playing now,
Right?
It's just a skill set that they have is second to none. I learned a lot of basketball playing there.
Well, apparently you learned a lot of different languages too, because people don't understand when you play overseas, you have to pick up the languages a lot of times, don't you?
Oh yeah. Well, the coaches don't speak English, so imagine having to go being in practice and the players will speak more English. So you'll have to listen to the players and they'll tell you what the coach is saying. I knew the curse words first.
That's a baseball thing.
You will learn the curse words first because when you do something wring, they will say it loud, right?
Oh yeah.
So it starts from there, and then you start gradually getting everything else. But
did you ever run a play wrong because you misunderstood a word or anything like that?
Oh, well, in practice, not during the games. In practice, for sure. I've heard it many times coming in my ears. So and I was cool with it because I'd rather him say it in his language than mine.
Hey, what did you think about the Irwin Center? the finale, so to speak, but the end of
Yeah.
the end of the road. You had so many great games, so many great memories there.
Yeah, that was tough, man, because I can always remember me first walking into Emerson because when I came on my visit, it was the summertime, so I didn't get to watch no games or anything like that.
Really, you didn't come to a game for your recruiting?
No,
Wow.
no, I came during the summer, and I just got to feel the presence of the whole campus and everything. But then walking through that tunnel, I remember myself, okay, it's real dark, and then they put the lights on for me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I could do this. I could definitely do this. So I didn't get to go to the last game. I did go to the Oklahoma State game to go see Terrence against, and I took me a couple of pictures because I knew this would probably be the last time I get to, go in the drum.
Yeah.
So it brought back so many memories, man. I tell a story that our weight room, we didn't have a weight room. So our weights were when you first go into the Irving Center to the left, there's like a back storage, and it had that was our weight room back there. And I was like, unbelievable stories we had just in that back area. It was nothing there the way it is now. There wasn't no front, the guy in the front right there. It was none of that, right? So yeah, that tells you how old I am right now.
What do you think about the new facility? How nice is it?
So Chris Beard showed me a video of what's going to be and I said, these kids are too spoiled, man.
It's crazy, and it's like a spaceship over there.
It doesn't make sense. You can't lose when you got something like that.
You shouldn't lose.
You should not lose.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. This year, me and Vince Young are really tight. I'm in Houston, so I'm always with him. We drove up to Austin to go see the football facility. And they got a barbershop in there. What the hell? And he didn't actually see all of it until me and him took the whole tour. And we were saying to ourselves, wow, how do you lose? You don't even have to go to your apartment or your dorm. You can live right here. They had a grocery store. You have to pay no money. Just grab whatever you want in there. So I can imagine how the Moody Center is going to be. I've seen the video where they have an underground where connected to the practice facility. So it's an underground little thing you go through and you come up, and there's going to be like a window where people can see you coming down. I'm like, what is this? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I'm upset about the Irving Center because I did my most damage in there, man. So I hope
you got to visit with Coach Beard very much?
I talked to him here and there. This is his first year here in the season, so I try not to bother him because me and Beard go back so long. From him being my manager.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
It's so weird, right? And to see him now with the beard and everything, and he's the same guy.
You like what he's doing? You like what he's doing with the club?
Yeah. It's because he had to bring all these transfers in, and it's not like really him raising and growing his own. He just had to get a couple of guys to pick out. So I'm not going to say it's a great season that he's having, for the circumstances that's going on. When he starts bringing in the players and that they want to recruit, I think it's going to change. But I mean, listen, I've never seen so much social media on a college in my life. These guys got all kind of stuff online, and they're generating so much buzz. I hated that Shaka couldn't get that as far as with the crowd and everything.
Yeah.
And I love what Beard is doing. I mean, all the students are so involved, man. Our games used to be packed. I remember playing in there. Our games was packed in there. When we played certain teams, a lot of teams, we packed that place.
Yeah.
And I just started seeing not so many people in that gym. I'm like, this is not good. Mm-hmm. So he brought the energy. So I love the energy. And when you bring the energy, players are going to want to come.
Did we, the fans, media, whoever you want to blame it on, make the expectations too high because of all these transfers that he brought in? Like, oh my gosh, they were great on their teams, and now they're seniors. They're going to come in. It's a Final Four team. Was that too much of an expectation?
No, because if we go back to talking the business side of it, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
to generate the buzz that they. I mean, like I said, the season is not the best season, but that gym was rocking this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've never seen so many students so involved with UT basketball. Football, you're always going to get it regardless. Win, lose, or draw. Football, you're going to get it. Baseball, too, as well. But the basketball team is always up and down, up and down. So the way the way they had to do it this year, I'm not mad at it at all. You know, hey, when they played Texas Tech that second game,
mm-hmm.
I'm watching it on TV like now that you get the gym like that.
From the non-basketball guy looking, I can see what Beard's doing. He's creating that culture, that energy. You're going to play defense. We're going to do this. We're going to rebound. He's just, I think, missing some parts.
No,
I think he's missing some scoring, some consistent scores. And I think he'll be just fine. But I think he's laying the foundation. I think you can see that, though.
Yeah.
He hadn't won 30 games or whatever. I think they're going to be in good shape moving forward. My instinct on it.
No, I agree. I love it. I mean, I'm right down the road. I only got to go to 2 games this year, but I'm definitely gonna show up in that movies. And I'm told those guys too. I hope I got some more pictures or something in this new stadium, man. Don't I didn't have too much in the Irving Center, which is very interesting to me. But this new one, you better put some stuff up, man. Me and Terrence talked about this. Like, you just ain't gonna shut out the running horns. I know y'all want TJ and KD. I understand, PJ. I get it, man. But look, man, we started this too, man. Put some more BMW up there. Get us in there, and then put the rest of those little young guys, man.
That's great. That's awesome.
I want to say 3 letters, not BMW, to you. NIL. How much money would you have made back in the 90s?
So me and Vince just talked about this.
Yeah.
I already told Vince, I said, your people would have been millionaires way before.
Yeah.
Your family would have been buying all kind of land and everything in Houston. Me, I would have been all right too, but him, it's out of control. Even getting money out. These kids are getting money from high school. You can deal with an agent in high school now because it's NIL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brock Cunningham is one of my former players that I coached in AAU.
Yeah.
And he is selling himself, boy. He is selling, and I'm not mad at him. Listen, the money that we got as students wasn't nothing, So, as much as I hate it that it's turned into a corporation and a business, I'm happy that these players and these students, athletes, are getting some money in their pocket, man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know their background. You don't know if their parents need it or if their parents don't even want to fly to a game. You can actually do it now for them, So that part of it, I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm just happy. But these guys are salesmen, man. These guys on UT, see, sell your stuff, man. But you got to play a little harder on that court. You got some money in your pocket now. Go bust some butt. That's got to be the message sent to them, or take it away.
I think it's the same thing we were talking about. There's a good and a bad that comes with all that.
Exactly.
I think everybody's happy for the players that for years now they got money in their pocket, So, but then again, does that spoil them to a level where they don't go out and play with heart, And that we don't know that yet. We're going to find out in the next 4 or 5 years. What's in every sport. That's in every sport. You got to have millionaire 19-year-olds walking around on campus. I'm happy. I'm a capitalist. I love it for the kid. But I'm like going, wait a minute. Does he remember he still has to work at it and get better? And you just don't know. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see.
So weird.
The 2 of you with all conference resumes could have made so much money, though. Yes. Both of you.
No question. I mean, the jersey sales, everything was so it could have been really crazy, man.
Yeah.
I always say, my mother had me way too early, man.
Well, that's the one thing I used to think was the jersey sales. They stick to everybody's name. I'm going, I get it. I get the school's got to pay for all these others. I get all that. But I'm like, man, there's something not right about that thing selling Earl Campbell jersey. And Earl's already been in the NFL. I mean, to me, the solution there would have been you put that in a trust fund, and then the kid gets X percentage of it as soon as his eligibility's up, and he rocks and rolls. he gets enough in his pocket right now to have that spending money or whatever. But then at the end of it, now you give him a big check when he's done, and you give him his cut for whatever, it gets put in a trust fund. In other words, they went the other way. They just said, we'll just give him $1 million up front or $2 million or $3 million, just from the get go. So
yeah, what is that? What's that quarterback? How much is he getting? What's the quarterback from Alabama?
Our quarterback we got, I'm hearing lots of rumors. 3 and 4,
That's just ridiculous.
I mean, it's a different world.
So, Reggie, I know you've been coaching a lot with AAU kids and stuff like that. So, do you keep up with March Madness because of that? And you know a bunch of the kids all over the place?
Well, I was coaching the junior college as well.
Yeah.
So after I did the AAU, I did the junior college. So a couple of players are still, dipping and dabbing with the March Madness right now. So I kind of like pay attention to some. I can't do as much as I want to, but I just pay attention a lot to the Big 12 and then the Big East.
Yeah.
Who do you like this year? Who do you like going into the tournament? Any favorites out there?
I'll be honest with you. Purdue.
I've heard more people say, basketball guys say Purdue.
That they have one player on there that's a super pro, and they just play the right way. They're dogs. So that's like it's not even a sleeper. Like that's my team to even do something in the tournament. And to be honest with you, I like Baylor.
You like Baylor maybe to make a run at a repeat, huh?
I like Baylor because they play hard. They have small guards that can get in the lane and do their thing. I like players that can create.
See, again, the non-basketball, I see athletes at Baylor. I see they got dudes. They can do what he's saying. I mean, they can, and they play their tails off.
Yes.
Here, they hit the boards. They penetrate. They play defense. They're athletic, very athletic.
Yes. So I really like those two teams. Again, I like watching some Big East ball, man, but I'm not going to put no Big East guys. Like I'm not going to think that they're going to make any kind of runs. I like Kentucky. I like Kentucky's team. Mm-hmm. They got some pretty good players too as well that I've been watching. And Duke, Duke took that loss to North Carolina the other day, so they got to, this is going to be a little bit different run for them because
the whole Coach K's final swan song deal.
Yeah. That's the thing people got to worry about because they ain't going to take that loss too well, and I think they're going to just try to mosey on down to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. When you're watching games, do you feel like you're watching it more as a coach now, or do you watch still as a player? Like, ooh, I could have done this, I could have done that.
No, I watch it more as a coach now.
Yeah.
If I put myself into a position to say if I could have did that, this and that, I need to go have a drink because I'll be pissed off. So, but when you watch it as a coach and you understand, okay, what this player could have done this way, or what that coach could have ran at this particular time, timeout situations, all that. I like to watch that because with kids, I like to make them better, right? And so over the course of the year, if I'm watching, I'm seeing, okay, he's developing, right? That's how I'm watching the game now.
But did you watch it that way in the late 90s, early 00s, right after you played college ball?
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like, I think back, one of my worst games was in the tournament to go to the Elite Eight against Louisville. And we played in where was that? In Syracuse. And what was it called? The Carrier Dome at the time?
Carrier Dome.
Mm-hmm. And you remember how wide it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't throw nothing in. Every shot was just like bubbling in and out, and I couldn't make nothing. But I said to say, I want that game back. To this day, I want that game back. I could not watch other teams at that time and say, "Oh, I'm way better than him. I'm way better than him." If I did that now, I lose my mind. But at that time, I was not thinking about coach. I'm thinking about I can't wait till I play against him next year.
Yeah.
Every time, I had like my mind set on certain plays. I can't wait till I see him.
Is that hard not having to, but remembering the bad games or the disappointing games more than the good games?
The good games, I mean, I don't even think about those really too much. The bad games, I'm like, what I could have did. I remember that game. I remember a game against Baylor against Texas Tech championship game. It was a 1-on-1 free throw I missed. And then I say, I'm going to get these guys back. The good games, I mean, it's way more than the bad, I think. For
There's
me,
too many to remember. Huh?
Yeah.
That is. So, Larry, was that how it was for you with baseball?
Mike, all athletes worth their salt. The bad ones, you never.
Yeah.
It's not an arrogance.
No.
They're all good, but the good ones, you think you've worked at your craft.
Yeah.
That's what I should do. And then when you don't come through, that bothers you for a long time. It may not even be an individual thing. It may be a team thing where we all could have been better. I remember high school football games we shouldn't have lost. Right. I hated losing the national title at Texas. Those are just, things. Pro ball is a little bit different. Pro ball is more about money and, you're playing baseball, especially, is almost like an individual sport. It's kind of like golf, except there's a team around it because you're trying to put up stats and numbers. But I'm telling you, college and high school sports, you remember all the bad ones. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't ever forget it.
I'm like that with sportscasts. I can tell you all my terrible sportscasts, and there were a lot of them through the years. They stick with you.
Are you kidding me with the hair you've got? I mean, look at the hair. You got perfect. That's hair right there.
Yeah, whatever. Reggie, we just need to remember that Fresno State game. Was that your best game of all time?
I don't think it was my best game. I think it was the most points I scored in the arena.
Yeah.
I don't think it was my best game. I had a game against Providence the year before. I had 37. And that was my highest score at the time, my junior year. I think that was a really good game for me because I knew all those guys on Providence, the guards, sham guards, Austin Cozier, and all those good players on that team. But a lot of those guys are from New York, and we played against each other in AAU when we were young. So and my assistant coach from high school was an assistant on Providence. And I just remember he kept on saying I couldn't shoot. He said I shot knuckleballs. And remember, our high school was on the 6th floor. We had a ceiling like this high.
Oh wow!
So we had to shoot kind of straight. But I just remember I remember him saying something like that. So my focus was totally different.
Yeah.
So I think that was my best game. But I mean, 43 ain't that bad either.
No. So let's concentrate on those and not the Louisville game or any other game.
Oh yeah. Okay. For now, yeah.
For now. Okay. Okay.
Damn, Mike. I mean, what do you mean the Louisville game? Thanks for remembering all of our bad ones together, boy.
He brought it up, not me.
Oh, that's good. Like a true sportscaster right there.
Oh, man. Reggie, it's been great visiting with you and bring back some old memories. We so much appreciate you being here in the box seats with me and David Lowery.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me, man. And, always keep in touch. I always keep in touch with Mike on Facebook, man. I see you don't age as well. People say I ain't aged, but I gained a little weight.
Look at that hair on him, man. Come on. Got the hair of a sportscaster right there.
Kind of gray, though. Getting gray.
I tell you what, though, you got a standing invitation. I've got a suite at the baseball games. And so anytime you're in town, let me know and come on up.
Oh, now, for sure. Now, I would definitely do that. No question.
Absolutely. And we'll still have some women around if you need to. Just let me know. I'll take care of it.
Okay, for sure.
Thanks, Reggie. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you. That's fun.